The rain was merciless that night. Martin Jackson, a billionaire CEO known for firing people without a blink, was racing through the storm, focused on nothing but his next deal, until he saw her. A woman, drenched and trembling, clutching a baby in her arms under a flickering streetlight. Her name was Joan Alexandra, and that baby was all she had left in the world. Martin could have driven past like everyone else, but something in her eyes made him stop. He didn't know why. He didn't know what it meant. But that single moment, that one act of compassion, would soon tear his world apart and rebuild it in ways he never imagined. Welcome to our channel. If you believe kindness still has power in a cruel world, subscribe, because the ones who look away allow the cruelty to thrive. Now, let's begin the story of a man who thought he had everything, until the night a homeless mother in the rain handed him back his humanity. The rain hammered against the windshield like shards of glass. Martin Jackson, billionaire CEO of Jackson Enterprises, gripped the steering wheel. His thoughts drowned in numbers, deals, and deadlines. He had conquered markets, built empires, and buried emotions somewhere long ago. Then, at a red light, he saw her. Under a flickering street lamp stood Joan Alexandra, soaked to the bone, clutching a baby to her chest. She had no umbrella, no shelter. Just a mother's desperate instinct to protect. The baby whimpered. Joan pulled her coat tighter, trembling. Martin's jaw tightened. He could drive on. That's what men like him did. But something, maybe the echo of his own childhood hunger, made him stop. He rolled down the window. Cold rain lashed his face. "Get in," he said quietly. Joan froze. "Sir, Please," he interrupted, his voice softer now. "You'll freeze out here." Minutes later, the billionaire's sleek car pulled away from the curb, carrying a woman who owned nothing and a man who thought he owned the world. When they reached his mansion, he pressed a key into her shaking hand. "Stay here tonight. The house is empty, you're safe." Tears mixed with the rain on Joan's face. She whispered, "Thank you." Martin turned back to his car, unaware that the key he'd just handed over would unlock more than a door. It would unlock his soul. A man who owns everything gives shelter to a woman who has nothing, and neither of them will ever be the same. The mansion loomed like a museum. Polished marble floors, art that never felt alive, silence that swallowed sound. Joan stepped inside, hesitant. She laid baby Eli on a velvet couch and exhaled. Warmth, for the first time in months, wrapped around them. She explored the kitchen. Spotless, untouched. She found eggs, bread, fruit. Cooking felt surreal, almost forbidden. The smell of food filled the air, mingling with something new. Peace. Later, she bathed, her reflection in the mirror almost unrecognizable. Not the street-worn ghost she'd been, but the nurse she once was before life's storm stripped her clean. When Martin returned unexpectedly that night, he paused at the doorway. Joan was humming a lullaby. Eli giggled softly. For years his mansion had echoed only with the clicking of shoes and the hum of machinery. Now it pulsed with life. Martin didn't speak. He simply watched, something heavy stirring in his chest. Maybe for the first time, he saw what money could never buy. Wealth can fill rooms, but only warmth can make them home. The next morning, a sleek black car rolled up the drive. Victoria Cross stepped out. Martin's former fiancée and business partner. Her heels clicked against the marble as if she still owned the place. "Martin," she purred. "You didn't tell me you had guests." Her gaze darted to Joan and the baby. The smile that followed was laced with venom. Joan lowered her eyes, clutching Eli. Victoria turned back to Martin. "You're smarter than this. She's playing you. Look at her, she knows what she's doing." Martin's jaw clenched. She needed help. That's all. Help. Victoria scoffed. Or headlines. "You think charity erases guilt." The words lodged in his chest like splinters. He tried to shake them off, but that night her voice echoed in his mind. Could he have been fooled? Could this woman, this stranger, be another opportunist? By morning, suspicion had rotted compassion. He confronted Joan. "Tell me the truth. Why are you really here?" She blinked, hurt flashing across her face. "You think I wanted this? You think I asked for pity?" Tears welled up, but she refused to cry before him. "Thank you for your kindness, Mr. Jackson. But my son and I will manage." She gathered Eli and walked out into the same rain that had once saved her. One lie whispered in jealousy can silence 1,000 truths born of kindness. Days passed. The mansion grew cold again. Martin sat at his dining table, untouched meals before him. The laughter was gone. The walls echoed emptiness. Guilt gnawed at him. What if Victoria was wrong? What if he had pushed away something pure? He hired a private investigator. Weeks later, the report landed on his desk. Joan Alexandra, once a registered nurse, top of her class, lost her parents in a car crash, fell for an abusive man who drained her savings and disappeared, leaving her pregnant and homeless. She hadn't lied. She hadn't wanted pity. She just wanted safety for her child. Martin's chest tightened. Every word cut deeper than the last. He doubted the only person who had looked at him without fear or greed. He set the file down. The empire he'd built suddenly felt meaningless. For the first time in his life, Martin Jackson, the man who could buy anything, felt utterly bankrupt. It was raining again when Martin found the shelter. He stepped out of his car, rain soaking his suit, the same storm, a different man. Inside, Joan froze as he approached. Her eyes no longer held warmth, only guarded calm. "Joan," he began, voice breaking, "I was wrong. I listened to the wrong person. You showed me what humanity looks like, and I destroyed it." He dropped to his knees, the billionaire kneeling before the woman he doubted. "I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I had to see you to tell you I'm sorry." Silence. Then a small hand tugged at his sleeve. Baby Eli reached out, smiling, babbling something soft. Joan's breath caught. That innocent gesture cracked the walls around her heart. She whispered, "Get up, Martin." He rose slowly. Their eyes met, sorrow, understanding, something unspoken. Sometimes forgiveness doesn't start with words. It starts with a touch. Months passed. The mansion was no longer silent. Joan returned, not as a guest but as family. She ran Martin's new medical outreach foundation, using her nursing skills to help women like herself. Eli's laughter filled every corner. The house that once echoed with loneliness now resonated with life. One morning in the garden, Eli toddled toward Martin and wrapped his little arms around him. "Dad," he murmured. Martin froze, then lifted the boy, tears glimmering in his eyes. Joan watched from the porch, smiling, a smile born not of fairy tales, but of forgiveness earned. From the road, Victoria's car paused. She saw them, the family she'd tried to destroy, and for once, even she understood that money had never been the prize. What began as an act of pity became a story of redemption, proving that one key given in the rain can open the door to a second chance at life.